Hello on a snowy Thursday here and some cold on the way, and wanted to reflect back to last year. This is looking at the pattern last year versus this year, completely opposite patterns. Last February very mild. This will maybe be a cold February overall. It's going to be pretty easy to be colder than the month of January was. And that does happen about a quarter of the time. Februaries are colder than Januaries, even though January statistically is the coldest month. Now, we saw some pretty decent totals set up on the backside of the system. A narrow, heavy band in the west created some 5, even 6-inch totals near Hutchinson, close to 6. And really in this swath just northwest of the metro is where we saw 4, 5, 6 inches of snow. Broadly, generally, we're going to end up with about 2 to 3 inches. These are totals through mid-morning, still snowing on top of these totals. Most of these reports coming in about 7, 8 o'clock. So those 1 to 2 inch amounts in the metro generally will go up a bit, but we're still going to see some maybe locally heavier amounts with some of those very narrow, heavy bands we have embedded in the snow. Snow's all done though by about lunchtime, so it's wrapping up pretty quickly here from west to east this morning. Sharp cutoff as that cold, dry air comes in. Still looking, again, most of us in the metro, 2, 3 inches of fresh snow, but there are going to be some pockets of 4 inches here and there. And then, of course, that narrow area of heavier snow off to the west, which is already done there, so it's not going to add up anymore west of the Twin Cities. But we could see some 4 or 5 inch pockets in western Wisconsin, too. And I talked about this the last couple days. The NAM model was one of the models that was kind of picking up on that there could be this narrow area, very narrow area of heavier snow, and very difficult to forecast where that sets up. Even the NAM didn't have the area right, but it was hinting that it was possible on the backside. We are going to see clouds pretty much linger into the next couple of days, so kind of unusual that it's going to be very cold, but also mostly cloudy around here. Some moisture kind of around the area. Temperatures drop through the day today. This is 6 o'clock this evening. We're in the teens, which isn't brutal, but the wind is going to make it feel like it's 0 or even below 0. Tomorrow morning, staying above 0 yet tonight in the metro. Sub-0 for the northern part of the state, but single digits. Low teens tomorrow, so not that super stupid cold yet that we're going to be seeing, but it is going to be chilly with the wind all day close to 20 miles an hour. But by Saturday morning, for the first time since December, we slip below 0, single digits below 0 in the metro. And then we'll see just how cold we can get. Sunday, Monday mornings still look to be our coldest mornings around the area. Wind chills this evening, again, dropping to near 0 or below. Most of the state will be below 0. And then here's early tomorrow with winds still 10 to 20 miles an hour. Single digits here, sub-0 to the north. We're going to have wind chills in the 20s and 30s below in northern Minnesota, and teens to 20s below here, 0 in the metro area. And then these are wind chills early Saturday. Yeah, 20s, 30s, even 40s below 0 is what it will feel like in the northern part of the state. Now, Sunday looks like the coldest day, probably teens below here, 20s and 30s below for northern Minnesota. Either way, coldest air in 2 years. All we got to do is surpass last year's temperatures that were only in the low teens below 0. And these are the wind chills Sunday morning. Winds will be lighter, but it doesn't take a lot of wind to create wind chills quickly in the 20s and 30s, even 40s below 0 to the north and west. And the cold is sticking around for a while. Through next week, this isn't just a couple days or a weekend of cold, but through next week, just single digit to near 0 highs, sub-0 overnight lows. European model kicks the cold air out a little sooner though. This is next weekend. We start to see temperatures return closer to or even above normal, but some big differences. The American model really keeps the cold around. European model really pushes it out of here quicker. The American model definitely is biased towards a colder solution later in the forecast. So I do think the European model is a little bit more accurate here, but there's the differences. The American model keeps us below normal still next weekend. European model starts to really push in some warmer temperatures. But even the American model, with its cold bias, by the time we head into mid to late month, really pushes in some warmer temperatures again. So even if the cold sticks around for 10 days, those few extra days longer, we are going to see some changes here start to take place. So temps drop through the day today, 20s this morning, teens by the evening. Again, wind chills are going to be a factor, wind through the day. So look for blowing snow in open areas. And then about 11 only tomorrow for a high, sub-0 tomorrow night, and that will set us up for several nights below 0. And then a slow crawl out of the cold. Again, maybe by next weekend, we'll start to turn things around.